such an asshole.
Good morning, children. We have I think it's a simple question. Hey, you, how do you vet a new bank? What criteria should the average to newly affluent customer consider? Thanks, Cap. Warm regards, Spinster in the field. I said, you looking at them as a potential employee or a customer? Also, what services are you looking for? Also, how much money are you planning on depositing at the bank? Customer, basic personal and business banking, into the six figures, just wondered, not there yet, but planning to grow net worth. You will have to find a South Dakota bank. What do you look for? Your Spinster agent in the field. All right. Well, if you have six figures, is that like high six figures? Because if you got high six figures, you may want to consider what's called a private bank. A private bank, you got like your own private banker. They deal only with high net worth individuals. They have wealth management services, and they're the whole shebang. And they'll offer personal and checking. But if you're willing to pay a little bit extra, you could get a personal bank and you're not standing in line in the tellers or anything like that. I've never needed, I don't know if I'd ever need that. Even if I had billions, I don't, because I do all my banking online. So I don't really need to go to the bank. Also, because online banking has moved online, this has freed up a lot of labor at physical banks where, like, I've not waited in line long. You know, how often do you deposit a check? How often do you have to open up an account? So what that then goes down to looking at is convenience. And convenience is another thing. Do you need an ATM? Like, do you need cash? I used to think, I need to get a national bank, so no matter where I go, I can bank or there's cash. That's kind of obsolete now, because I don't use cash. I don't go to the ATM. Everything's paid with my credit card. I know a lot of you like to hold on to cash, and the handful of times I've needed to get cash, I've been, okay, I'll pay the $2. This is very common in Wisconsin bars. You'll cross over the line. No, it's 2021. You'll cross over the border from Illinois. You want to go to some Wisconsin bar, and you say, you got to ask, do you take cash? Oh, us hick folk here. What is those dang diggly dingly doogly cash machines you talking about? We got cash machine. Yeah. Or no, I'm sorry. I take it back. I did this wrong. You say, you take credit cards? What are you talking about? What are them newfangled credit cards? We ain't advanced like you city folk. It's like, you're in Racine. You're a suburb of Milwaukee, in between Chicago. You got a population of like 120,000. What do you mean you don't take credit cards? Oh, I don't know. I'm just a barkeep here. We got one of them newfangled cash machines that'll charge you $10 a withdrawal. I'll go fuck yourself. One of these shitty ass plastic that got it off of eBay. Looks like they almost went to Toys R Us to get this Toys R Us Play School cash machine. You enter in your car like, it's a $5 fee. Oh, fuck you, Wisconsin. Anyway, I don't think people really need cash machine anymore. I think it's all kind of, we go automatic deposit. If you want to go to the bank, go get some cash. So whereas in the past, you used to think, well, you're going to need a Wells Fargo or a Bank of America or something like that. Not anymore. So then it's like, okay, what services are you going to need? If you're just going to do checking and accounting, or personal and business checking, maybe a savings account, any bank will do. Any bank. As long as they have online banking. That's the key thing. As long as you got online banking, and you just need simple banking services, I would argue any bank would do. If you need lending, okay, this is where you might want to change this. So if it's just transactional, checking accounts, they got good online banking, fine, any bank would do. If you're going to go for lending, now it depends, okay, because especially commercial lending, because the paradox is the smaller banks, the community banks, even your credit unions are desperate for a good piece of commercial lending. So they will give you very favorable terms. The problem is the smaller banks you go, the more retarded their employees get. So I that's why I kind of like regional or mid-sized banks, because there shows some professional competency. They got access to markets. They're like, okay, we could process this and underwrite this loan if you need it proficiently and efficiently. But if you get some one branch hick bank in Wyoming, or you got some credit union that claims to offer commercial lending services, you'll get approved and you get some very favorable terms. It might be just like, hey, I gave you my tax returns. Are you guys going to approve the loan or not? Oh, well, we're just little folk here at the community bank. We don't have the expeditiousness of the larger ones. We're here to help the little people. So if you got time and patience and you really want to get a good rate, like for a car loan or something like that, even the small community banks and credit unions are perfectly fine. But if you are doing business and it requires, like, for example, let's say you need a revolving line of credit because to finance receivables or inventory, where your business model requires short-term financing, inventory, stuff like that, I don't know if you want to be going with Jessup McWinthrop and his three hickaroos over in, Rawlins, Wyoming. You may want to go with a regional bank that has some expertise, has some streamlined underwriting processes, and can have that banking relationship where you talk to your commercial banker like, hey, Jim, here's my payment. Did you apply the payment? Good. Think you did. Then you go to the credit union, like, here's my payment. They don't apply the payment. Then your supplier's like, hey, where's our payment? Oh, by the way, here's some fees. It becomes a managerial nightmare. So if you're just, again, I know there's many options and places to go. As long as it's got good online banking, you can make your deposits. You don't need to walk in with an actual physical check. That's step number one. If you just need a little bit of cash and check operations, fine. Get the local bank down next to you so that if there's a problem, you can walk in and you can conveniently drop off a check. If you need something a little bit more robust in terms of financial services, I'd be going a regional bank. Do not go with a Wells Fargo or a Bank of America. They are too big. They're too incompetent. I used to bank over at TCF, Twin Cities Federal, and then they bought Commerce Bank, and now that was 6 months ago. And now that new bank, which has yet to be streamlined, has been recently taken over by another bank. And you could just tell once they got took over, it all went to pot. They got too big. The online system didn't work. So these large bailout banks, I wouldn't have anything to do with it. Regional is like the sweet spot, though. They're located in a couple states. All right. They got 10 to 20 branches. Don't do First Interstate. I'll tell you that right now. I don't know where you're going, but I'll tell you this. Don't do First Interstate. Okay. That's because that's where I, in my working days on Wyoming, they're in the mid part of the country. And they're the most arrogant pricks. They're the big fish in the little pond. And I came in and I've had dealings with them before. I'm like, you guys got the attitude of Wells Fargo and the performance of these shitty ass piddly banks that I wouldn't recommend First Interstate. But there's other medium-sized banks that you could go with, and they should be able to handle any business lending issues that you have. But yeah, man, if you're like looking for a mortgage or car loan, screw over the little banks, man, or the credit unions. Okay, anything, any business, well, except minus 5%, just that way I can close the deal and negotiate with them. Probably can't negotiate on mortgages because they're selling them to the secondary market, but you can negotiate with them. Say like, okay, hey, look, I want, 0.5% less. Oh, okay, all right. We're a big bank now. We made a commercial loan, Ma. And those are credit unions. All right. Ba-da-bop, ba-da-bop, ba-da-bop. Yeah. I'm surprised Wells Fargo hasn't been nationalized and piecemealed off. And here's Juan, Sophie, never deal with a physical bank ever again. Okay, there's online. Yeah, go with Sophie. I might look into that. All right, we'll see you guys later, Toodles.